Hello and welcome to a new Google Sheets video in Practical Sheets. Today we're going to learn how to do automatic sorting. What do I mean? Sometimes we have some tables and let's say I always want to have ordered by the ID. And let's say I add some new rows, I change the ID of this number, and then I have to go again and do data and order it, or do the filter and order it. So it will be nice to have a way to order it automatically. So let's try it. I have here the ID. Let's say I change Mary for Marianne, and you can see that it updates my order. And for example, let's say add here a new one that is called the, I don't know, 0. Now it orders it and the 0 starts here. Or for example, these have changed to 25 and it goes downstairs. And this changes to 2 and it goes up. So I'm going to show you today how to do order by numbers, order by text, how to choose which column you want to order by, how to deal with formulas so that you don't lose the formulas, and some other tips about ordering your sheets, everything with Google Apps Script. I know you're going to love it. And if you want to download the template, just go to the Patreon page. Very easily, you can go to the video, download this same template, and you can ask me anything about it. If not, you can just watch the video and hopefully subscribe or share a comment with us. So let's begin. I don't think I need to go through the ways to order a table in Google Sheets. They're basically doing a filter or right-clicking and do sort sheet AZ or Z to A, or if you want to do a more advanced sorting, you go Control-Shift right and down, and then you go data and sort range, and you can say advanced range sorting options, so you can do multiple column criteria ordering and ascending, descending, and you can choose if it has a header or not. So this is the main way you do ordering, but we are not concerned with this today. Today we want to do it with a code, so I can do it automatically, for example, when I open the sheet, or when I do a change, or when I click a button, or when I go to the menu, whatever trigger I want, so the table is ordered again. So now let's go to the fun part. I'm going to go to extensions, script. Maybe I'll hide this so we can have a better look at our table. And we're going to have a sort, automatic sort, let's call this. So as always, I need to get a handle of my table. So for this, first we need to connect to our spreadsheet with get active spreadsheet. I like to do it line by line, so I'm going to call this variable SS, as you may see in a lot of tutorials online. Then I'm going to do WS, that is my worksheet, that it will be SS. And now that I'm in my spreadsheet, I can call my worksheet with a number of methods. The one I'm going to use here is get sheet by name. And the sheet is called data. So I'm going to put here the name data. And finally, I'm going to go to my data or to my table. And this will be WS get data range. That basically what it does is stand in A1 and then go to the rightmost column and then to the final row in my table. And this is what I'm going to get data range and get the values. So this is the first thing to have in mind. We're going to log the data so you can see what I'm seeing. Let's save and let's run. I'm going to be asked for some permissions the first time. So let's review them. Let's click our account. Let's click advanced and let's go to our untitled project. I haven't given it a name yet. So let's do that here. Sort. And here you can see that I'm bringing all of these tables. If you don't want to have these dates so weirdly looking, then we can change these get values for get display values. But actually, given that I'm going to paste it inside here and this already has the format, then I don't think we're going to have any problem. So the first thing you can look in the log is that inside my data, I have the headers. And given that I'm going to sort them, I think it's better idea to not have the headers. So I'm going to remove the headers with data.shift. Okay, this removes the first element of my array, and the first element happens to be the header row. Let's save and let's run again, just to see that it's working. So now you can see that I don't have my headers. Okay, so now I can order without a problem. So how do I order? Apparently it's pretty easy. I'm just going to use a method on my data that is called sort. So down here I can do data.sort and it will sort it. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's go to our data and let's paste it. Let's see it again. The thing is that this sort, we can see this when we start putting the parentheses and see the help in Google Apps Script, that it says what does it returns. This method mutates the array and returns a reference to the same array. Given that it returns a reference to the same array, then I don't need to store it anywhere else. I just need to log the data again. So let's save and run. So you can see that's basically that apparently it has changed. Here you see 1 John Smith, then 2 Mary Johnson, then 3 David Davis. That is that I have it like I have it here. So now when it sorts it, look here, I have 1 John Smith, then I have 10 Jessica Garcia, then I have 11 William Jackson, then I have 12 Laura Perez. So it has sorted automatically by the first item, that is this ID, but it has looked at it as a text, not as a number. So this is why 10 goes after 1 instead of 2 going after 1, because it's not ordering as a number, but as a text. Okay? So this is not a very good idea to use the sort without anything else, because it will sort him in this default way that most of the times won't be the way that I want to sort it. So the nice thing is that inside sort, I could use my own function. So depending on how do you want to sort, I can use a lot of custom functions. So we're going to look just a few of them today, the most basic ones. So I'm going to comment this so you have all the options, and then I'm going to do the first data sort, the easiest one, the most used, that is numerical. So this is a callback function that needs 2 arguments. What the sort function does is that it starts comparing one element with another. So for example, let's say I give this a sort function method. So first it takes these two, A and B, and it looks which is greater or which complies with a condition I give it. And then it reorders it. Then it goes with these other ones, and then these other ones, and then these other ones, and then until the end, it reaches the end, and then does it again a couple of times until everything is ordered well. Okay? So this is why I need 2 elements, because it will always go, it will iteratively go through pairs of objects, sorting them. Okay? So the basic notation, the common notation we use in this is AB, A comma B, and this is a callback function. So I use the arrow notation, and then I'm going to say the function which I wanted to order it. Normally it will be A minus B, but given that we're talking about arrays that have inside elements, so I need to give it the exact element. In our case, we have 5 columns, so I need to give it the position where I want to order it. So let's start with the ID. The ID is position 0 in array notation. So this is why I'm going to use this notation 0, A0 and B0. This basically means order in numerical order, lesser to greater, and by the ID that is position 0. So let's save and let's see what happens. So actually it should be the same array, because right now it is ordered in this way, numerical from low to high. So let's see. Here I have from low to high 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And if I go here, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And if I want to do it backwards, it would be B0 minus A0. So it doesn't matter that I first sorted by this and then sorted by this, because the one that will prevail will be the last one. So I'm going to leave all of them, and I'm just going to put a comment. Numerically ascending. I hope it's clear. Numerically descending. So let's save and let's run. And now it should be backwards. So let's see. 20, 19, 18, 17, etc. Now let's paste it here so that we could see it firsthand. So once we do the sort, at the end, I could take this same range, get data range, because I'm not going to add or delete. In this case, maybe you're going to have some complex cases where you're going to delete some rows. But for now, I'm going to separate this ws.getDataRange. I'm going to call this range. And here it will be, I'm going to use it first here. And then here at the end, I'm going to do range dot set values. And I'm going to paste again my data. Let's save. And let's run again with my numbers backwards to see what happens. Something is not right. The thing is that the range, this get data range, starts in row 1. And when I did this shift, data now has one row less. So this is why this won't compute, because range has one more row than data. Okay, so the thing I could do is, actually, let's call this starting range. And we're going to do pasting range, something like that. Paste range or destiny range, I don't know. Final range. And this will be ws.getRange. And I'm going to start in row 2, column 1. Let's have the number of rows that data has. So data.length, and the number of columns that data has. So data in the position 0, this means go and look in the first row and tell me how many columns does it have. Okay, so this will be my final range. And this is where I'm going to paste my data. Let's save and let's run again. What happened? Here I have to change starting range also. Let's save and let's run one final time, I think. And let's see, you can see that it pasted it now 20 at the beginning, 2019, 1870. Okay, the same would work with age and with birth date. So I would have to do the same here, but I'm going to change the position. So if I want to do it by age, high to low, then I'm going to do the same, but A will be in the position 3 and B also in the position 3. So I just need to change this for 3 and this for 3. Let's save and let's run. And you can see that it's by age. The same by birth date, because the date is basically a number. So if I do before, let's see if this works. I'm going to comment this and we're going to do this A4 minus B4. So it orders it from lowest birth date to highest birth. Let's save and let's run. And it did. Perfect. So for numbers, we have it covered. Now let's do this for text. If you want an explanation, I know there are some videos online where you can find the explanation for this, but basically how this works is that, as I told you, this goes A and B. So let's say that it starts here. Let's say that it's going for ID and it evaluates these two, A and B. It subtracts A minus B. In this case, remember this is ascending. A minus B is negative, so it's -4. This returns -1. There are 3 returns in the sort: -1, 0, and 1. -1 is any negative number, +1 is any positive number, and we have 0. If the return is -1, it will leave these two as it is. So if we are ordering in an ascending way, and I do this and it's -1, then this will be at the beginning. So it's perfect because this is less than this. This is ordered in an ascending way. Now let's see at the other pair, 12 and 3. 12 minus 3 is 9, it's +1. So given that it's +1, then it will change them. A will become B and B will become A. So 3 will be first and 12 will be second. now you can see that everything is in order, because now I have 8 here, but now I have 3 here. So this is why I told you at the beginning that this has to go multiple times to order it correctly. The first time it will order it more or less, then the second time better yet, and the third time better yet, and the fourth time better yet, until it has ordered it completely, okay? So this is basically it, is more or less the logic behind it. And if it's the same number, in this case, we're not going to have the same number, okay? But in the case that I have the same number, 6 and 6, it will return 0, so it doesn't do anything, okay? If the result of any condition here is negative, then it will leave A as A and B as B. If the result is positive, A will become B and B will become A. And if the result is 0, nothing will happen. This is basically it. So keep this in mind while we do the next function. So the next function, we're going to do data.sort, again, A and B. And again, we're going to do our arrow, but now we're going to have a bit more of lines. So now we're going to have a conditional. We're going to return the 1 and the -1 explicitly with functions. So I'm going to say if A1 less than B1, here we're going to talk about, we're going to try to order it by names. So it's very weird that A is less than B, because this is not numbers, we're talking about letters. But in this case, in the case of sort, it will work in the logic of the alphabet. A is less than B, B is less than C, C is less than F, etc. Okay, so it will work, so just go with it. So we're going to do it in position number 1, that is the first name. So A1 minus B1. If this happens, if Elizabeth is less than Laura, that this is true and it's alphabetically, then just return -1. So because we're going to leave it as it is. But if it's the opposite, so if it didn't return -1, remember that when I return a function, when I do a return in a function, it will not continue to read the function. So here, if this is not true, then it will go to the following line, and the following line would be return 1. If this is true, return -1. If not, return 1. So let's do this again. So it should return, it should order by the first name. Let's see. Let's see. And you can see that it worked. And let's do the last name now, but in descending order. So we're going to copy this. And the same AB, but I'm going to put this A greater than B. So it's the opposite. And I'm not going to do it in A1, but in A2. In the position 2, that is the last name. Let's save again, and let's run. Let's run. And here, Wright, Wilson, Walker, Thompson, Taylor, Smith. So these are the main cases. Again, there may be a bit more advanced cases when we have uppercase, lowercase, the same values, but I wanted to leave you with the cases that will work in 90% of the time. One last thing to show you is that, let's say, for example, I have function here, full name. Let's do it easily with a concatenate. And we're going to concatenate Amanda, and then space, and then Wright. Let's go with the autofill. I'm going to copy this function. I'm going to copy this function. It should work with more columns because I did the data range thing. So let's run it again. So I run it again, and you can see that the function has disappeared. The formula doesn't work anymore, because when I do these get values, what it's doing is converting everything to values. So be very careful with this, because if you have formulas, it will delete it. One way to not let it delete is that before we paste it, we can copy the formulas, and at the end, after we paste the data, it's like we copy the formulas before we do the damage, we store them, and then after we do the order, we paste them again on top of it so that the formulas keep alive. Okay, something like that. So for that, we are going to do WS get range, and we're just going to get the range of the formulas. So in our case, it will be this column 6 starting on row 2. So basically it's the same as this, but with the difference that it's only one column, so I can delete this last argument, and it will start in the row in the column 6. We're going to get the formulas, and let's store this in a variable called formulas. And at the end, I'm going to paste it in this same range. So actually I can copy this and store it in formula range variable. Now I do formula range, and we're going to do again formula range dot set formulas, and we're going to put this formulas variable. Let's make sure that we have the functions again with Ctrl Z. Run it again, and here it is. So it ordered everything with the last name on a descending order, and at the end it pasted the formulas. Okay, I add this because this is one of the main questions I always have in this type of video. But before I go, I promise to do this automatically. So we could put this in a non-edit function or in an unopened function, or we could do both. So here I could do an unopened function, and we can add here our automatic sort. Remember that we have the last name backwards. So for now, let's order by the ID. Let's remove this. We're going to save, and then we are going to reload our sheet. So you can see here, for now we have the ID as our order. Let's wait a bit, and it ordered automatically. Okay, so this is the first option. The second option is to put it inside an unedit function. So again, automatic sort. Let's order this again. Let's save, and let's change, for example, here. This is not Johnson anymore, but Wilson. Let's wait, and here you can see that it updates, and maybe Smith is no longer Smith, but Bouvier. And it changes it again, and Bouvier goes down. But the thing is, you need to be careful, because every time you edit anything, it will order it again. So you can put maybe some conditionals. As a homework, you could say that this will only work when I change the first name or the last name or the ID or any of these columns. Okay, so this we could do it as an extra for the Patreon if you want. So this is it. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, if you liked it, you can download the template in the Patreon page, or if not, you can subscribe to the channel and comment. That comments are always welcome.